I didn't even notice the first ping. My phone was buried under a pile of books on my desk, buzzing like an anxious insect. By the time I picked it up, the group chat, our group chat, was already on fire. Elena, the den. Guess some people don't know when to quit face with tears of joy. Beneath it was a screenshot. My words. My name at the top of the bubble. I don't know why it hurts this much, but it does. Every time you pull away, I feel like I'm being erased. It was a message I'd sent her 3 weeks ago, late at night, when my chest was heavy and I trusted her enough to be raw. We'd been friends since we were kids. Elena was the one who held the flashlight under a blanket while I whispered my fears about the dark. The one who swore we'd never betray each other. Now she'd pinned my vulnerability to a digital wall for everyone to stab. Replies rolled in before my brain caught up. Bro is down bad, rolling on the floor laughing. Is this real? He actually sent that? This is some Lifetime movie *T. I stared at the glowing screen until the words blurred. For a second, I thought maybe it was fake, maybe she'd photoshopped it. But the timestamp was there. My phrasing. My exact midnight desperation. Another ping. Another screenshot. If you don't talk to me tomorrow, I'll wait. I'll always wait for you, even if it's stupid. She didn't just post one, she had a whole gallery of them. Stripped from private conversations, twisted into something pathetic. The laughing emojis stacked like daggers. Elena, I typed in a private message. My thumbs trembled. What are you doing? 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. Then nothing. In the group chat, she wasn't silent. See? This is what I deal with. Constant drama. He doesn't know when to stop. The replies turned harsher. Creepy. Obsessed. He was always like this, just quiet about it. I could feel my stomach knotting, a physical ache curling under my ribs. My face burned hot even though I was alone in my room. The weight of hundreds of eyes, even if it was only 30 people in that chat, pressed down on me. I scrolled up, desperate for an anchor. The chat's title at the top, The Denver. Once it was our safe place. Jokes, late-night memes, confessions. I'd been in it since we were kids, since Elena added me with, Where You Belong. Now I was prey inside it. Ping. Another screenshot. This one is worse. Sometimes I think you're the only person who'll ever understand me. That one had been from years ago, sophomore year. Back when she told me secrets about her parents fighting, and I thought I was protecting her. Back when we lay on the hood of my car in the dead of night and counted stars. Now, stripped of context, it made me sound like some desperate hanger-on. Stop, I typed again, this time in the group chat. Stop posting my messages. She replied instantly. Or what? The laughter that followed was louder than any silence I'd ever known. I dropped the phone onto my desk, but the buzzing continued. Notifications piling on. Each vibration is a nail in my chest. I pressed the heels of my hands into my eyes until I saw stars again, but not the kind I wanted. I thought about running, just throwing the phone across the room and pretending none of it was happening. But when I picked it back up, the damage had only grown. Old friends had left the chat entirely. New screenshots were being shared by people who weren't even in the original group. The walls of my world shrank with every repost. Elena had calculated this. She'd timed it for maximum impact, a Saturday afternoon, when everyone was online, bored, and hungry for drama. The cruelest part. She wasn't ranting or crying or angry. She was laughing. Casual. Like destroying me was just another meme to her. And the others followed. Always. I wanted to scream. Instead, I typed again. Why? Why are you doing this? No reply. Only silence from her, louder than the storm in the chat. I leaned back in my chair, phone slipping from my grip. A reel of memories spun behind my eyelids. Elena in 5th grade, tugging me into the talent show lineup. Elena at 16, whispering she'd never let anyone hurt me. Elena last year, her hand brushing mine under a blanket while we watched a movie. And now Elena, posting my words for sport. The buzzing slowed. I thought maybe the storm was over. But when the next notification came, it wasn't from the den. It was a private message. Not from her. From someone I didn't know. The profile picture was a law firm logo. Unknown number me. Elena is prepared to pay you $3 million. In exchange, you vanish. I read it once. Twice. A third time. My pulse thundered in my ears. 3 million. Vanish. This wasn't just betrayal. This was exile, with a price tag. And for the first time that day, the ice in my veins felt colder than the fire in my chest. Chapter 2. I must have read the message 20 times. Each time the number looked more unreal. $3 million. Commas like blades. Zeros like black holes. It sat on the screen of my phone in sharp, sterile font, as if $3 million could ever look ordinary. At first I laughed. It was that hollow, disbelieving kind of laugh that cracked in my throat before it even reached my lips. $3 million wasn't money, it was a fantasy, a dream, a lottery ticket you never expected to cash. And yet here it was, written as though it were no different than a Venmo request. I should have felt powerful. I should have felt bought. Instead, I felt buried. Because I knew what it meant. $3 million to vanish. Not to move away. Not to take a break. Not to let things cool off. No, vanish. Erase myself from Elena's life, from our shared friends, from the places we'd grown up together. Cash in my identity like it was a pawned guitar. I clenched my phone so hard the case groaned. My chest hurt, the kind of ache that made breathing feel like punishment. I needed to see her. It took me 2 hours, 3 unanswered calls, and 1 desperate voice message to finally corner Elena into meeting me. She didn't answer directly, of course. She never did the dirty work herself anymore. Instead, her assistant, an assistant she'd apparently acquired without me knowing, texted me an address and a time. When I got there, she was already waiting. Elena sat in the back corner of a cafe that looked too expensive for its own wood paneling, tucked into a leather booth like a queen holding court. She wore a blazer I'd never seen her in before, hair swept back, phone in hand like a scepter. For a second, my brain betrayed me. I saw her as I used to, sprawled on the grass in the park, eating popsicles, laughing with cherry-red lips. My chest tightened. Then she looked up, and the Elena I remembered was gone. This one was colder. Sharper. 3 million. I didn't sit down. My voice came out rougher than I expected. What the hell is this? She slid her phone into her bag, as casual as if we were discussing the weather. You read the message. Elena. I slammed my hand on the table, hard enough to make the coffee cups rattle. Why? Her eyes flicked up to mine. Calm. Controlled. A mask. Because it's easier this way. Easier. My voice cracked. Easier than telling me why you humiliated me in front of everyone. Easier than explaining why you turned my words into a circus. Easier than. Stop. She cut me off, sharp enough to slice. The whole cafe seemed to freeze with that single word. She leaned forward, voice low but tight. You don't understand, and you don't need to. All you need to do is disappear. Take the money. Start fresh somewhere else. Don't come back. Her words landed heavier than the 3 million itself. You're serious. Yes. You're paying me to vanish. Yes. And that's it? After everything we've been through, after everything we were, you won't even explain? For the first time, the mask cracked. Her jaw trembled, her gaze slid away. But then she inhaled, steadying herself, and the mask snapped back into place. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you take it and go. My throat burned. So I was nothing more than a liability to you. You were, she hesitated. Important. Once. But now you're dangerous. Dangerous. The word tasted rotten in my mouth. Elena, I've never done anything but protect you. How the hell am I dangerous? She pressed her lips together, refusing to answer. Silence, colder than any denial. I realized then, she wasn't going to tell me. She wasn't going to admit why. She'd rather erase me with money than risk giving me the truth. I left before I broke something. Before I broke myself. Back home, the apartment felt smaller than ever. The walls leaned in. The lights buzzed. I sat at my desk and opened my banking app, hands shaking. There it was, pending transfer, $3 million. A fortune in green numbers. The kind of wealth people killed for. And it felt like a gravestone with my name carved into it. I stared until my eyes stung. Part of me whispered, take it. Disappear. Run far away, start a life where no one knows what Elena did. Another part of me screamed, don't let her bury you alive. The debate circled like vultures until my phone buzzed again. Not a text. A call. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity was stronger than fear. Hello. My voice came out raw. For a second, only silence. Then a woman's voice, low and steady, slid through the line. Don't take her money, she said. It's blood-stained. And then the line went dead. Chapter 3. The papers smelled like antiseptic. That was the first thing I noticed in the lawyer's office. Not the sleek black pens lined perfectly on the table, not the faint hum of the air conditioning, not even the stiff silence between us. No, what I noticed was the smell. Sharp, sterile. Like the whole place was designed to erase fingerprints, erase humanity. Read each page carefully, the lawyer said. His voice was measured, but his eyes stayed flat on me, unblinking. Once you sign, there's no reversal. He slid the stack toward me. Confidentiality clauses. Non-disclosure agreements. Waivers I didn't understand. Each line was another nail in the coffin of my old life. I picked up the pen. It felt heavier than it should have, like it knew what I was about to do. I thought of Elena's face in that cafe, detached, guarded, refusing to explain. I thought of the screenshots, the laughter, the way she stripped me bare in front of everyone. My hand shook. "You're certain," the lawyer asked, monotone, "that you want to proceed?" Certain. What a joke. I wasn't certain of anything except this: if I didn't sign, I had nothing. No friends, no reputation, no defense. The only thing left to me was this poisoned gift. The pen scratched across the page. My name, looping letters that looked like someone else's handwriting. When it was done, the lawyer gathered the stack neatly, like he was filing away my existence. "You'll see the funds within the hour." And just like that, I was worth exactly $3 million. When I checked my account, I almost couldn't look at the screen. The number glared back at me, obscene in its size. Balance, $3,274.16. I could have bought a house. A fleet of cars. Disappeared across oceans. I could have reshaped my entire life. Instead, I just stared. It didn't feel like mine. It felt like hush money. Blood money. A bounty on my own name. I needed to talk to someone. I started with Daniel. He'd been my friend since middle school, the one who always covered for me when I bombed a test or forgot my homework. "Dan," I said when he picked up. "I need to explain." He cut me off. "Don't bother." "What? You don't get it, do you? Everyone saw the screenshots. And now you're walking around with hush money like it's nothing. She paid you off, man. That means you're guilty of something." I didn't. Click. The call ended before I could even defend myself. I tried Mara next. She didn't answer. Instead, I got a single text: "Lose my number." One by one, I reached out. And one by one, they slipped further away. Some blocked me outright. Others left me to read. The silence of the ones who didn't reply at all was somehow worse. The group chat was gone. Not just muted, gone. I'd been removed. The den had spit me out like a body rejecting a transplant. I sat in my room, blinds drawn, phone heavy in my hand. The weight of $3 million pressed down on me harder than poverty ever had. I thought of the nights Elena and I spent under the stars, whispering about what we'd do when we were older. She'd wanted to escape her family. I'd wanted to escape obscurity. Now here we were, she had erased me, and obscurity felt like a mercy. The number in my account mocked me. Every time I refreshed the app, it was still there, glowing like a neon wound. Until it wasn't. The notification came at 11:47 p.m. A sharp buzz, another ping. "Bank alert. Your account has been frozen. Asset under investigation, linked to fraud." I blinked, refreshed the app. Same red banner. Balance, $0 available. My heart stuttered. My throat closed. $3 million, gone in an instant. Not stolen. Not withdrawn. Frozen. And all at once, I understood, Elena hadn't just erased me. She'd branded me. Chapter 4. The first thing I did after seeing the frozen account was call the bank. The hold music was cheerful enough to make me want to smash my phone against the wall. I sat hunched on the edge of my bed, staring at the red banner on my screen. My breath kept catching, chest tight like someone had cinched a belt around my ribs. "Thank you for holding," a chipper voice finally came through. "Your account has been placed under temporary restriction for compliance review." "What does that mean?" My voice cracked. "That's $3 million, my account is frozen." "Why?" "I'm not authorized to disclose details at this time," the rep said, as if she were reading from a script. "You'll receive notice once the investigation concludes." "I haven't done anything wrong. That money was transferred legally." "I understand your concern," she repeated. "Please await further communication." Click. The call ended. I stared at the dead phone line, my pulse in my ears. I tried again. Another rep, same answer. Compliance review. Fraud flag. Investigation. No details. By midnight, I'd burned through 3 cups of coffee and a dozen unanswered texts to Elena. Nothing back. Not a word. When I checked her socials, she hadn't even mentioned me. Not a denial. Not a defense. Nothing. As if I'd already been scrubbed from her orbit. I searched her family's name online, scrolling through stale news articles about business expansions, charity galas, magazine spreads. Shiny photographs of Elena's parents at banquets, her brother shaking hands with politicians. Not a single crack in the facade. If there was rot beneath the surface, it was buried deep. The next morning, I sat slouched at a corner table in a coffee shop, staring blankly at a laptop I wasn't really using. My body hummed with exhaustion, my eyes raw. Long night? A voice asked. I looked up. She stood with perfect posture, a tailored navy suit sharp against the warm cafe lights. Dark hair pulled back into a low bun, lipstick the color of red wine. A leather briefcase at her side. Who are you? I asked, my voice rough. She slid smoothly into the chair opposite mine. No invitation needed. Marissa Caldwell, she said. Corporate lawyer. We need to talk about Elena. The name hit like a slap. My hand tightened on the edge of the table. How do you know her? She folded her hands. Her nails were immaculate, polished to a muted gloss. I've been dealing with her family for years. Let's just say, I know how they operate. And I know why you've suddenly found yourself with a frozen account. Cold prickled across my skin. Why? She smiled without warmth. Because the money wasn't clean. I laughed, sharp and humorless. Of course it wasn't. Nothing about this is clean. But why me? Why pay me $3 million just to vanish? Marissa leaned forward. Her eyes were sharp, predatory. Because you stumbled into something you weren't meant to see. Or perhaps Elena simply thought you knew too much. Either way, silencing you was the priority. The words sank like stones in my gut. You're telling me, I said slowly, that Elena's payoff was connected to her family's crimes? She tilted her head. That's the polite word, yes. You were collateral damage in a much larger operation. And now, by accepting her money, you've made yourself a liability. I wanted to argue, deny, scream that I had nothing to do with her family's empire. But the truth was already clawing at the edges of my mind. Elena's cold eyes in that cafe. Her refusal to explain. The way she called me dangerous. Marissa reached into her briefcase and slid a business card across the table. White, embossed, minimal. Her name gleamed in silver. You have 2 choices, she said. Take the deal and disappear. Live quietly, if they let you. Or, stay. And find out why Elena really paid you off. My throat was dry. And if I stay? Her smile sharpened. If you disappear now, she whispered, you'll never learn why she really paid you. Chapter 5. For a day, I tried to pretend Marissa didn't exist. Her card burned a hole in my pocket, but I refused to look at it. Lawyer or vulture, it didn't matter, she wanted me in deeper, and I'd already drowned enough. The smarter move was to walk away. Take whatever scraps of dignity I had left, even if my bank account was frozen, even if I was branded. I told myself this on repeat. Safer to back out. Safer to forget. Safer to vanish. But paranoia has a way of dripping like a leaky faucet, constant, inescapable. Every car that slowed on my street, every glance from a stranger, every ping from my phone felt loaded. I couldn't stop wondering, had Marissa been telling the truth? Was Elena's family more dangerous than I ever imagined? The answer came faster than I expected. It started with another ping, then 10, then 20. By the time I grabbed my phone, my notifications were a wildfire. Mentions, group chats, texts from numbers I didn't recognize. And at the center of it, another screenshot. But this one wasn't real. It showed me, supposedly messaging someone. Yeah, I took her money. Easy payday. Now I've got dirt on Elena and her whole family. Watch what happens next. Winking face. Fake. Clumsy. My name at the top, my profile picture stolen, but the phrasing was wrong. Too cocky, too shallow. Not my voice. It didn't matter. Screenshots didn't need to be real. They only needed to spread. Replies flooded in. Snake. He was planning this the whole time. Imagine betraying your best friend for cash. My chest tightened. Fingers numb, I scrolled further. Someone had posted side-by-side comparisons, Elena's leaked screenshots of my real messages, the vulnerable ones, next to this new fake. The narrative was neat now, a perfect story, pathetic obsession betrayal cash out. I could almost hear the collective sigh of satisfaction. See? It all makes sense now. They weren't just erasing me. They were rewriting me. I slammed the phone down and pressed my palms against my eyes until the darkness turned red. My memories of Elena, the stargazing, the secrets, the late-night confessions, all felt poisoned. Every moment was retroactively twisted into a weapon against me. It wasn't just that I'd lost her. It was that she'd claimed the right to tell my story. By nightfall, I needed air. I shoved on a hoodie and walked aimlessly, neon signs bleeding into wet pavement. My head buzzed with static, every thought sharp and useless. I ducked into a narrow bar I'd never been to before. The kind of place where nobody asked your name. A jukebox hummed low, glasses clinked, conversations blurred into static. Perfect for being invisible. Except I wasn't invisible. She found me within minutes. Funny, a voice purred beside me. You don't look like a millionaire. I turned. The woman leaning against the bar was striking in a way that demanded attention. Dark curls spilling over a leather jacket, eyes lined sharp as blades, a smirk that suggested she already knew the punchline. Who are you? I asked, defensive. She tilted her head. Lila. Elena's ex-friend. Ex-everything, really. She sipped her drink, watching me over the rim. And I've been waiting for you. My stomach twisted. Why? She leaned in close, her perfume sharp, intoxicating. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Because Elena paid you off for a reason. You know too much. And me? Her smirk widened. I'll pay more if you stay. Chapter 6. I told myself not to trust her. Not the cool tone on the phone, not the calculated precision of her words, not the way she'd slipped her card into my hand like a hook. But suspicion has a way of curdling into desperation when you've run out of lifelines. And I was out. So I met her. Marissa's office wasn't what I expected. No mahogany desk, no heavy curtains. Just glass, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, the skyline sharp and merciless. Everything about the space was sterile, steel-gray furniture, spotless shelves, no trace of personality. She rose as I entered, smooth as if she'd been rehearsing. Black suit tailored to perfection, hair pulled back tight, expression neutral. Thank you for coming, she said. Her voice was low, practiced, the kind of voice designed to soothe while sliding a knife between your ribs. I sat, pretending I wasn't on edge. My palms were damp against the armrests. You're nervous, she observed. Not a question. Paranoid, I corrected. The difference is, paranoid people are usually right. Her lips curved faintly, not a smile but the shadow of one. Smart. She folded her hands on the desk. Let's not waste time. I can protect you. Protect me from what? I asked. She tilted her head, studying me like I was a puzzle piece she'd already solved. From Elena. From her family. From the story they're spinning around you. I laughed, short and bitter. And in return, nothing's free. Loyalty. The word was crisp, clinical. I need you not to align yourself with Elena or Lila. You stay neutral. You listen to me. You let me handle what comes next. The way she said it, not as a request, but an inevitability, made something cold settle in my chest. And if I don't? I asked. Then you'll be eaten alive. She slid a thin folder across the desk. I hesitated before opening it, bracing for whatever trap she was setting. Inside, corporate flowcharts, names of shell companies, transfers spanning countries and currencies. Numbers that didn't add up. This, she said softly, is how Elena's family launders money. Through real estate fronts, fake charities, offshore accounts. $1 billion empire built on shadows. I stared at the lines and arrows, the paper trembling faintly in my grip. And me? My voice cracked. Where do I fit into this? Marissa leaned back, eyes narrowing. You saw too much. Too close to Elena for too long. Maybe you overheard something, maybe you noticed inconsistencies. Whether you realized it or not, you were a liability. That payout wasn't kindness. It was damage control. Her words landed heavy, each one a weight pressing on my ribs. So that was it. All those years of friendship, the stars, the late-night promises, the quiet trust, reduced to an accounting line. An expense. $3 million to erase me. You want me to believe you're my savior, I said quietly, but you're just another player. Another person telling me who I am, what I'm worth. Her gaze didn't flicker. Believe what you want. Just know this, without me, you won't survive the month. I left her office without another word. The city air hit me like a slap, cool and damp with the promise of rain. My chest felt hollow, my steps uneven. I should have kept walking. Straight to the elevator, straight out the building, straight into the night where I could breathe. But I didn't. Something, instinct, suspicion, pure stupidity, made me pause outside her door. I shouldn't have lingered. I shouldn't have heard. Marissa's voice, muffled but distinct through the wall, smooth and unhurried. He's in position. We'll bleed him dry before Elena gets him back. The words froze me in place, a knife between the shoulder blades. Not a protector. Not an ally. Predator. And I was already in the cage. Chapter 7. I should have walked away after Marissa. After hearing her voice slice me open with those words, we'll bleed him dry. I should have locked myself in my apartment, thrown my phone into the ocean, vanished before the claws dug deeper. Instead, I let Lila pull me in. She chose the rooftop bar, of course. Neon lights bleeding into the night sky, music thumping in the air, a place where whispers became rumors before the glass even touched the table. Lila thrived in chaos. When she spotted me, her smile spread like gasoline catching fire. She rose from her seat, sequin dress flashing under the strobe, hair a mess of dark curls that dared you to touch. Look who finally crawled out of Elena's shadow, she teased, kissing the air beside my cheek. I stiffened. You make it sound like I had a choice. You always have a choice, she said, sliding back into her chair with the grace of a cat curling into a trap. That's what makes you interesting. Her table was littered with half-finished drinks, 2 phones, and a thin folder that looked too deliberate to be accidental. I sat. She leaned forward immediately, elbows on the table, eyes gleaming. Here's the deal, she said, her tone like champagne fizz, bubbly but laced with poison. Elena paid you off to erase you. I'm offering you the opposite. Money, yes. But also vindication. I'll help you flip the script. I frowned. Meaning? She tapped the folder with one manicured nail. Proof Elena manipulated the narrative. Group chat edits, leaked emails, timelines that don't add up. I can make the world see you as the victim. My stomach twisted. Victim. I hated the word, but part of me ached for it. For someone to say out loud what I couldn't. And in return? I asked. In return, you stand beside me. Her grin sharpened. Publicly. Let the world see where your loyalty is. Together, we burn her little empire down. The drinks arrived, amber whiskey for me, something neon and dangerous for her. She raised her glass. To rewrite stories. I clinked half-heartedly, sipping slowly, but she watched me like she was measuring how much truth I could swallow with each burn. You don't trust me, she said finally, tilting her head. I don't trust anyone. Her laughter rang out, loud enough to turn heads. Good answer. Keeps the game fun. Time slipped strangely with her. One moment we were dissecting Elena's motives, the next she was leaning close, whispering things in my ear that made my pulse trip. Do you know why she paid you off? She murmured, her hand brushing mine as if by accident. Because she knew if you ever stood beside someone like me, she'd lose. Her perfume was dizzying, sweet with something darker underneath. Her smile was dangerous because it made me want to believe her. But even as the heat coiled between us, I noticed her phone. Propped against her glass at a peculiar angle, screen dark. Recording? Watching? I forced myself to lean back, creating space. What do you really want, Lila? She didn't answer. She just sipped her drink, eyes glinting with amusement, as if the question itself proved her point. By the time I left, my head buzzed with whiskey and adrenaline. She'd gotten under my skin, too easily, too quickly. And yet, some part of me felt lighter. Seen. Maybe even powerful again. That illusion shattered the moment my phone vibrated. I pulled it out. A notification. The video was everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, the gossip blogs. Me and Lila at the rooftop bar. Her leaning in close, laughing, my hand brushing hers. Intimate. Edited with slow zooms and captions. The headline blared in bright letters. Traitor caught. My blood turned to ice. Someone had staged the entire night. And the world was already swallowing it whole. Chapter 8. I was still staring at the cursed video when her message came through. No emojis, no punctuation, just 3 words that cut straight to the bone. We need to talk. For a second, I thought it was fake, another setup, another trap. But the number was hers. The one I'd memorized years ago back when late-night texts meant comfort, not ruin. She told me where to meet. The cafe was nearly empty at midnight, its windows streaked with rain, neon signs bleeding red across the glass. The place smelled like old espresso and regret. She was already there, sitting in the farthest booth, hood up, hands wrapped around a coffee she wasn't drinking. When her eyes lifted to mine, the air between us went sharp. "Elena," I said, my voice betraying 1,000 things I swore I'd never let her hear again. "Sit." Her tone was clipped, almost brittle. The second I slid into the booth, she struck. "You just couldn't help yourself, could you?" Her eyes blazed. "First the screenshots, then the money, and now you're parading around with her like some pathetic little trophy." Her words hit harder than the gossip sites ever could. Because it wasn't strangers judging me, it was her. The girl I'd trusted since we were kids, the one who once swore we'd never hurt each other. "You think I wanted that?" I snapped. "You think I wanted the world to see me like that?" "Lila staged it. Just like you staged everything else." Her laugh was sharp, humorless. "Blame Lila, blame me, never yourself. Classic. Don't you dare." My hands shook under the table. "You're the one who broadcasted my secrets to the world. You're the one who wired me $3 million like I was some disease to quarantine." The cafe's old fridge hummed, filling the silence that stretched between us. For a second, I thought she'd lash out again. Instead, something cracked. Her eyes softened. "Just a fraction, but enough." "I didn't want to," she said, her voice suddenly quieter, almost breaking. "You think it was easy? Watching you get dragged through the dirt while She cut herself off, biting her lip until it went pale. I wanted to hate her. God, I wanted to hate her. But the way her shoulders curled inward, the way her fingers trembled on the coffee cup, she wasn't the ruthless Elena from the group chat leak. She was the Elena I used to know. "What are you saying?" I asked carefully. She looked at me then, really looked at me. And for a terrifying second, I saw tears in her eyes. "You don't understand," she whispered. I had no choice. "There are things you don't see, people who would." Her throat closed around the words. She shook her head as if even speaking to them would bring those people crashing through the door. The storm outside pounded harder against the windows. My chest ached with questions, but none of them seemed safe to ask. I leaned forward, lowering my voice. "Then tell me the truth. Just once. Why, Elena? Why all of this?" She swallowed hard. Her lips trembled. And then she leaned in, so close I could feel her breath against my ear. Her whisper cut through me like a blade. "I didn't pay you off to leave me. I paid you off to survive." Chapter 9. Elena's whisper wouldn't leave me alone. "I didn't pay you off to leave me. I paid you off to survive." Her words looped in my head like a curse, colliding with the memory of Lila's smirk, with Marissa's cold assurances. 3 women, 3 stories, none of them complete, all of them dangerous. I felt like a coin being flipped between them, everyone betting on where I'd land. I was still pacing the apartment when the email came through. Encrypted. From Marissa. The subject line read, "For your safety." I shouldn't have opened it. My gut screamed at me to delete it, to walk away, but my fingers betrayed me. Inside was a folder of files. Dozens. Spreadsheets, bank transfers, scanned documents with neat signatures at the bottom. My name. Over and over again. Daniel Rivers. Attached to accounts I'd never opened, transactions I'd never approved, numbers so large they made my head spin. One wire transfer alone was $42 million. My chest locked up. It felt like the floor tilted under me. I called Marissa immediately. She picked up on the second ring, her voice too calm. "You saw the files. What the hell is this?" I snapped. "Why is my name on all of that? Who did this?" A pause. Then, "This is why I told you to stay close to me. They're setting you up to take the fall. Elena's family launders billions, Daniel. They need a scapegoat. And you just happened to find these documents?" I spat. "Like you're doing me a favor." Another pause, heavier this time. "Be smart. Don't confuse the messenger with the crime." And then, she hung up. My phone buzzed again, this time with a video call from Lila. I almost didn't answer. But her face filled the screen before I could stop myself, smiling like she'd already won. "So," she said lightly, "they're pinning it on you now. Cute." My throat burned. "You knew." "Of course I knew," she said, as if talking about the weather. This is what they do. Elena's family is an empire, Daniel, and empires need martyrs. Don't you get it? They're writing your obituary in real time. Why the hell should I trust you? Her smile sharpened. Because I'm the only one not pretending I care about you. Elena plays the tragic protector, Marissa plays the savior. Me? I'm honest. I want Elena destroyed. And you're my way in. Before I could answer, she ended the call. I sank onto the couch, hands gripping my knees, heart thrashing. Elena's betrayal. Lila's seduction. Marissa's terms. 3 women, 3 stories. None of them give me air. And then, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Just one line. Meet me tonight, I know who framed you. Chapter 10. The message burned in my hand like a live wire. Meet me tonight, I know who framed you. I told myself not to go. Every instinct screamed it was a setup. But the files, the forged signatures, my name tied to crimes worth millions, if someone really knew the truth, I couldn't just ignore it. So I went. The lot was empty, lit only by a dying street lamp that flickered like a nervous tick. My footsteps echoed on cracked pavement as I scanned the shadows. My breath was sharp in the night air, every exhale sounding louder than it should have. Hello. My voice came out thin. I'm here. A figure stepped out from behind a rusted-out car. Hooded, hunched. Male or female, I couldn't tell. You're in over your head, the voice rasped, distorted. They're all lying to you. Elena. Lila. Marissa. Every one of them. My heart slammed in my chest. Then tell me who set me up. The figure tilted their head, almost amused. You really think it matters? The sound came next, boots scuffing gravel behind me. I spun. 3 men in masks. Broad shoulders, gloved hands. My stomach dropped. One of them laughed low. You don't listen, do you, Rivers? Should have taken the money. Should have kept your head down. Hands grabbed me, rough, twisting my arms behind my back. I thrashed, useless against their weight. What the hell is this? I shouted. Who are you working for? No answer. Just a fist slamming into my gut, air torn from my lungs. Doesn't matter, another said. You talk, you're dead. You keep quiet, maybe you keep breathing. I spat blood onto the concrete. Screw you. They laughed again. Not cruel, just efficient, like they'd done this 100 times before. Something sharp stung against my neck. Cold. Chemical. My limbs went heavy, my chest slow. The world folded in on itself. I woke to pain. My head throbbed like someone had driven nails into my skull. My wrists burned, tied tight against the arms of a chair. The air smelled like antiseptic and dust. A click echoed. Bright light flooded the room, blinding me. When my vision cleared, my heart stopped. Elena. Lila. Marissa. Standing in front of me, shoulder to shoulder. No smirks. No whispers. Just 3 pairs of eyes, watching me like a jury about to deliver a sentence. Chapter 11. The ropes burned against my wrists every time I shifted. The chair beneath me wobbled, cheap metal legs squeaking against the concrete floor. When my eyes adjusted to the glare, I saw them, all 3 of them. Elena. Lila. Marissa. They weren't circling each other anymore. They weren't whispering in the shadows or sending me cryptic messages. They stood in front of me together, unmasked, as if the entire war had collapsed into this single room. I could feel my pulse in my throat. Marissa was the first to break the silence. Her voice was cool, sharp, every word measured like a lawyer addressing a jury. You've been lied to, framed, dragged through dirt that isn't yours. I can clear that. My firm has the resources, the reach. But protection comes with loyalty. You choose me, and I'll cut Elena's family down to nothing. You'll walk away untouched. Her gaze was steady, predatory. Protection was a leash disguised as armor. Then Lila moved closer, a sly smile playing on her lips. She leaned against the table, arms crossed. Protection's for cowards, she said. What you want is payback. Elena humiliated you. Marissa's already plotting to bleed you dry. But she tilted her head, eyes locking with mine, I can give you vindication. Public, brutal, unforgettable. Help me expose them, and you'll walk out of this not as the victim, but the executioner. Her voice coiled around me like smoke. Sweet, intoxicating, poisonous. And then Elena. Her voice wasn't sharp or seductive. It cracked. You don't need them. She stepped forward, almost stumbling. I was wrong, I hurt you, but it wasn't because I stopped caring. I paid you to keep you alive. My family, if they thought you knew too much." Her hands trembled as she reached for me, then stopped short. "Stay with me. I'll protect you. We can disappear. Just us, the way it should have been." Her eyes were wet, desperate. The three voices tangled in my head: protection, revenge, reconciliation. My heart hammered against my ribs, faster with every second. They weren't just speaking to me. They were circling each other, claws out, daring one another to make the wrong move. Their words blurred together until they were nothing but noise, and I felt something inside me snap. "Stop." The word came out low, hoarse. They froze, three sets of eyes pinning me down harder than the ropes. "No more offers," I said. My chest rose and fell, breath trembling but voice steady. "No more games. I'm not your prize. I'm not your weapon. I'm not your alibi. You've all treated me like I'm disposable, but I'm not playing anymore." The silence that followed was heavier than any blow I'd taken. Lila narrowed her eyes. Marissa's jaw tightened. Elena's lip quivered. Then, without warning, the sound ripped through the room. A gunshot. The echo cracked off the concrete walls, deafening. Someone gasped. Someone staggered. I couldn't see who. But the smell of gunpowder filled the air, and I knew nothing would ever be the same again. Chapter 12. The sound of the gunshot was still ringing in my ears when Elena staggered back. Her hand flew to her shoulder, crimson spilling between her fingers. Not fatal, but enough to paint her pale blouse with violence. "Are you insane?" Lila screamed, shoving Marissa's arm. "I didn't fire," Marissa snapped, her hand trembling despite her words. The pistol still smoked in her grip. Elena groaned, sinking against the wall, her legs sliding out beneath her. For one sick, suspended moment, the ropes biting into my wrists no longer mattered. This wasn't a negotiation anymore. It was war breaking apart at the seams. In the scramble, Lila darted for the gun, Marissa pulled it back, and Elena laughed through her blood. "You think you're in control? You're nothing but a cleaner, Marissa. My family owns you." Marissa's face hardened. "Your family's empire is rotting, Elena. And I'm the one who lit the fuse." The words cut sharper than the bullet. Papers spilled from Marissa's briefcase when Lila knocked it over. A USB drive clattered to the ground, bouncing to a stop at my feet. My hand strained against the ropes, the fibers finally starting to fray. On the floor, I caught glimpses of printouts. Wire transfers, forged contracts, accounts in names I didn't recognize, until one leapt out. My name. Again. And again. Page after page, my name signed on documents I'd never seen. Accounts that tied me to money laundering, fraud that could burn down nations. The room tilted. "Elena didn't set me up," I whispered, more to myself than them. Elena's eyes flicked to me, wide and wet. She shook her head, blood streaking her cheek. "I tried to protect you." But Marissa's voice sliced through hers, cold and triumphant. "You were always the perfect scapegoat. Forgettable. Replaceable. Disposable. By the time anyone noticed, you'd already be gone." The truth lodged like glass in my chest. Elena had humiliated me, yes. Betrayed me, yes. But the rot went deeper. It was Marissa's firm that had built the coffin, nailing my name into it with forged signatures and digital trails. And the $3 million. That was Elena's twisted attempt at mercy. A bribe for silence, yes, but also a shield. The only shield she thought she could give. I laughed, bitter, broken. My wrists burned raw as the last thread of rope snapped. "You all wanted me erased," I said, voice hoarse. "But you couldn't even agree on who got the shovel." Lila's gaze darted to me. Then she smiled, not soft, not kind, but victorious. She crouched beside me, slipping her hand behind the chair to tear away the last coil of rope. Her perfume was dizzying, her lips brushing my ear. "Now you're mine." The words were a promise. Or a threat. And at that moment, I couldn't tell the difference. Chapter 13. The files stared back at me from my laptop screen. Screenshots of group chats where Elena mocked me. Voice recordings of Marissa's veiled threats. Bank statements with my name scrawled like graffiti across accounts I'd never touched. Contracts with signatures forged to look like mine. All of it, evidence stacked like dynamite. My finger hovered over the mouse. For days, I'd been the one dragged across the chessboard, shoved between their schemes. Tonight, I decided I was done playing pieces. I was going to flip the whole damn board. When I hit upload, it felt like pressing a detonator. Within minutes, the files were live. Journalists received copies. Anonymous forums picked them apart like vultures. Social media hashtags bloomed like wildfire. Hashtag Empire Exposed. Hashtag Blood Money. Hashtag Fake Contracts. I sat back, the glow of the screen painting my face pale blue, and just watched. The world burned in real time. News anchors stammered. "We're receiving breaking reports." Elena's family name trended with venom. Marissa's firm scrambled with statements, each one more desperate than the last. And Lila? Lila posted a smirking selfie with the caption, "Knew it all along. Told you." But even her moments soured. Receipts surfaced, her fingerprints in schemes, her whispers in the group chats. The same chaos she had weaponized turned back on her, shredding her carefully built persona in hours. They devoured each other. And for the first time in weeks, the knives weren't aimed at me. The notifications poured in, thousands of messages, interview requests, death threats, offers of money. My phone buzzed until the battery threatened to give out. But sitting there, in the silence of my dark apartment, I felt none of the triumph I thought I would. Just ash. I'd burned the bridge. Every bridge. And now I was standing on my own island, surrounded by smoke. The knock came at midnight. Soft, hesitant. I thought it might be a journalist, or worse, someone angry enough to put a bullet where the internet had only put words. But when I opened the door, it was her. Elena. Her hair was tangled, her blouse stained, her eyes swollen red from crying. No smirk, no blade hidden behind her smile this time. She looked small. Breakable. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "I have nowhere else to go." Chapter 14. The apartment felt too quiet. The kind of quiet that pressed on your chest and made you wonder if you'd stepped into a tomb instead of a home. She was sitting there. On my couch. Elena. Her hair was pulled back, though strands fell loose like she'd been clawing at it. Her clothes were wrinkled, her shoes left carelessly by the door. And for once, she wasn't composed, wasn't immaculate. She just looked tired. When her eyes met mine, there wasn't anger. No sharp edges. Just something hollow. "I wanted to protect you," she said, her voice a rasp. I didn't move. Didn't sit. Just stood in the doorway like her confession might stain me if I got too close. "Protect me?" The words came out harder than I intended, sharp enough to cut. By humiliating me in front of everyone? By making me the villain? By wiring me money like I was a problem to erase? She flinched, and for a moment I thought she'd snap back, bare her teeth like old times. But instead, she folded in on herself. "My family would have destroyed you," she whispered. "They already tried. You don't understand what they're capable of. Paying you off was the only way to get them off your back." I laughed. It sounded wrong in the silence, jagged, bitter. "So you destroyed me first. Beat them to the punch. That was your logic." Tears welled in her eyes. Real ones this time. Not the performative gloss she used to win arguments. Not the crocodile shine she used when cornered. These were raw, and they cracked her voice when she tried to speak again. "I thought it was the only way you'd survive." I finally sat, across from her, leaning forward until my elbows dug into my knees. "You don't get it," I said softly. "I wasn't asking you to save me. I was asking you not to be the one holding the knife." The silence stretched. She cried quietly, and I let her. For the first time, I wasn't going to fill the space for her, I wasn't going to reach across to make it better. Then came the offer. The one that soured the air between us. "I still have the money," she said quickly, like she could patch the cracks before they split too wide. "It's yours. Take it, please. Walk away with something. If nothing else, let me give you that." I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, and with a few taps, transferred the millions back to her account. Her phone buzzed almost instantly on the table between us. The sound might as well have been a gunshot. "I don't want your money," I said. My voice was steady, cold in a way I didn't know I could be. "Not anymore. You don't get to buy me. Not my silence, not my freedom, not me." She broke then. Really broke. Head in her hands, shoulders shaking. The kind of sobs that leave you empty when they're done. I stood. There were no grand speeches left, no curses to spit, no vengeance to exact. Just the slow realization settling between us. Whatever we'd been, whatever we could have been, it was gone. I opened the door. The hallway light spilled across the floor like a line between us. I didn't look back when I said the last words she'd ever hear from me. She paid me to disappear. What she didn't know was, I'd finally found myself. And then I walked out into the night.